Welcome back to Cheddar, everyone. Joining us now is Victoria Shtainer, New York real estate broker at Compass. Victoria, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We just finished a segment talking about what Trump's presidency means for the auto industry. What does it mean for the housing market?
I think we are very excited to have him as a president because the first place he started and accumulated all his wealth is real estate. And he's a New York City real estate developer. So being in New York City and being a realtor, selling the dream of having a beautiful home or apartment, he creates enthusiasms for us and of course for our buyers.
Now, do we think that in terms of maybe the stock market rising and consumer confidence near an all-time high right now, that also will spur some activity in the real estate market?
The consumer confidence is very big for us because it's all about the psyche of the buyer and the psyche of the seller. So we need people to be confident in our market and see where we're going forward in order to buy or sell. So I'm very excited that he's creating all this buzz.
Wait, with this buzz that he's creating, though, you say it's still hard for millennials to kind of enter in as new home buyers to the market, especially in a place like New York City where prices are very high. What can they do to kind of counteract that and get out of renting if they're looking to own?
Right. Well, the millennial is the best buyer that I could possibly have. Number one, they're the most educated and they really, really do all their research. So when I sit with them and I talk to them, they already know everything. They use me for negotiation, and they also use me in terms of getting the best product for them in terms of a mortgage. So the problems that they do have is the down payment. But there's tricks and ways to save for a down payment. They have their parents help them out. They stop, buying Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts every day. They won't go out for that extra drink. And they save money, $1,000 a month here, another $1,000. All of a sudden, before you know it, they have money for a down payment. So their big problem is the down payment. But if their parents or someone is willing to help them out, they understand that the only way to get rich right now for them is not spending money on rentals because that's money in the garbage. It's buying a home.
Where do millennials want to live right now? Which markets?
Mark, anywhere where the jobs are, and the big cities have the jobs, and also millennials love to party. They're young, they're successful, they're single, they want to go out, they want to have the best time, so they are very much attracted to big cities.
Talk a little bit more about Trump's administration having a positive impact on the housing market. We know that he wants to deregulatize most areas, most sectors, obviously the housing sector being one of them. Would that help to expand the credit markets and open up that cash flow to these new millennial buyers?
Yes, having to get a mortgage would be easier because he's going to try to do that. Also, if we could get the tax abatements back, tax abatements right now are very important because when you're a developer and you want to build a new project, you want to have the tax credit and the tax benefit goes to your buyer. So instead of paying $1,000 in taxes a month, you're paying $13. For somebody who is paying the monthlies on something like that, that's a huge savings.
So I know maybe by saving on eating out from time to time that can certainly add to someone's bank account, but with prices rising and with prices really on the rise, rising double digits in some particular markets like a San Francisco, a big city where a lot of millennials want to live, how do they go beyond that and make sure that if, especially in a big market, that they can afford that?
I think they need to look at it backwards. They need to look at the price that they want to pay, and then they need to think about what's the percentage down. If the percentage down is 10% or 20%, they need to look at what they're getting paid in salary and look backwards how much do they need to save per year to get that in the course of 5 years.
And with Trump's supposed administration going to having a big positive demand on the entire economy, I assume something like that is going to continue to spur demand, new infrastructure, new buildings. Is that something that we can see really helping with new home buyers?
Oh yes, definitely. If we could get better mortgages and people coming in and looking at more property and not spending money on the rent rolls, that will be much better for them because that's the way that you accumulate wealth.
What is the affordability breakdown right now in big cities? Maybe New York is one example between renting and actually buying.
Well, if you look at your, it's 4% right now for your 30-year mortgage. If you could get a LIBOR, which is the lowest you could get, which is at 2.2%, it's actually now cheaper to buy than to rent because your monthlies on a rental, one bedroom, is anywhere from $4,500 to $5,000 a month, where you could buy for $3,500 all in.
And
so you're actually saving.
With inflation too, I mean, how much do you expect rental the prices of rentals, at what pace do you expect them to rise year to year? Because one of the things that us New Yorkers know is every year, if you're not in a rent-controlled apartment, you really get dinged, and one year it can increase 3%, and then the next year it can increase 5%.
They're anywhere from 4 to 6% is the market rate. 4 to 6%, which is huge. Inflation is not even that big.
That's the average over time, or
Per year.
particular to this specific market right now?
To this specific market per year.
I have to actually specifically, going back to that LIBOR rate for our Chet heads out there that don't know, that's the London Interbank Operating Rate.
Yes.
That is used to kind of set the standard. But how many homeowners are really getting a LIBOR rate on those new mortgages?
People who understand the product and are willing to take the risk do that. But you really need to have a realtor to advise you in terms of your mortgage to get the right product for yourself, and also look at the risk that you're trying to take. If you're doing a one-bedroom buy for 30 years, are you going to physically be in a one-bedroom? No, because these first-time home buyers are either going to get married or have a family or whatever's going on in their life. They're not staying for 30 years, so why lock yourself up for 30 years if you could take a 5-year at a LIBOR at 2.2?
More or less demand in your business since Donald Trump was elected?
More. So
How
much
much more?
excitement. I would say about 20%. 20% plus. They're worried about inflation, and they're worrying about mortgage rates going up.
Were people just sort of sitting on their hands and waiting leading into the election, not really knowing and feeling a little bit uncertain as to what the outcome might be, and maybe holding off then in the real estate market?
Yes, we felt like from October till about the election, a little bit of a lull.
Okay.
Quiet.
Victoria Shtainer,
Yeah.
New York real estate broker at Compass, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.